if you stumbled across this video just from YouTube, I'd like you to consider checking out the link to why I did this video. It was part of a lecture that I presented, and not only is it good for people who are trying to get healthy, get off medicines, make a major lifestyle change, I wanted to put this video out because I've run into many different folks that come to my classes or my lectures, and I hear that they try detoxing because of the advice of a friend, or because it was what was shown on Dr. Oz the day before. And this concept, although, and if you see the link and watch the slide presentation, the concept of what to do in changing around or initiating a change in your lifestyle, it's not just to be taken, I'll try it and see what happens. You really have to plan things out. The idea about a detox, in my opinion, is it's either 7 days or 14 days. But the bottom line is it's a short burst of a change. And the change is there because you have to get set. You either have to stop your caffeine, your alcohol, your refined sugars, your whatever craving that you are trying to get away from. And during that short time period, it's going to hurt. You're going to be craving, you're going to be grouchy. So most important with regards to detoxing, don't do it when there's going to be a change in life. If there's going to be a holiday coming up, if you're going on a trip, if you're going through a office move, if you're going through a closing of a house, if your kid's going off to college, don't plan a detox at that point in time, because the likelihood of you saying, it's too much, I'm quitting, I'll postpone it till next week, the likelihood is high. And I'd like to implore with you that every time you make a quit, every time you say, I'm going to do this next time because it's just, I don't have time for it, it tells the brain, I can always postpone next time too. It tells the brain there's an easy way out. And you have to be committed to make a change. And the bigger change is going to be what happens after your detox. So if you, at a maximum, if you go for the 14-day detox in a box, and again, check out my SlideShare link to show, to see which detox in a box herbal combinations I like. Now, I've tried them all, but at least the ones I mentioned, and I have my favorites, but please see the link. But if you go for the maximum of 14 days, the next stage as to what you're going to be doing as you daisy chain into the next 3 months after that. And usually if you're making a change, I think that 3 months is a pretty decent time to establish that you have done well with the change, and after that you kind of reconsider what you're going to do after the 3 months. So at the max 2 weeks of a detox, at the max 3 months of initiated change, and then you kind of reassess after that. Even if things are going well, you still have to reassess, plan for the next summit, or at least the next hurdle, which you're going to be restricting or allowing back into your life. I think 3 months for me is pretty decent because it shows commitment. It gives you at least a short-term goal. 12 months is a little bit too distant and it's sometimes intangible. 3 months I think is easy. It also puts you within a season, so you don't have to do too many changes unless you're at like my last DrRic 12 weeks to change. I went and asked my people who are going with me to make a change from the late winter into early spring, and you had to go through, at least the activity level, you had to go through 2 different seasons, snow and then heat. So it was a little bit difficult, but again, if you're choosing now, which is November 2014, you are probably starting to notice a change in your local environment, in your temperature, in your barometric pressure, and it's probably going to get colder or darker. So with that, at least you stay into one climate, and you don't have to go buy too many clothes. But please see the link to developing a hiking program and a meditation practice. That'll give you 2 ideas. Also, you can start going into high-intensity interval training if you'd like, but the idea is you have to start searching. If you wait until your 14 days is finished and then you start searching, it'll take you at least a week to 2 weeks to kind of search, try out, and say, I want to try this. So you just wasted 2 weeks. If you don't link your activity to your nutrition, to your meditation and grounding practice, then again, the likelihood of you falling off the wagon, getting back into old ways, going back into gaining weight, or your caffeine or your alcohol again is very high. So it's very important to plan out. So number one, don't do a detox when you're going to be going through a major lifestyle change or a holiday. Number two, plan out ahead of time. If you're not sure about how to detox, do some reading. You have to read. Don't just take the advice of somebody else who said, I did a grapefruit detox, I felt great. You really have to read and research and see what resonates with you. Somebody that says, I'm going to go from an average 2,400 calorie per day diet to a 1,000 calorie a day diet, I honor that in you, but that's really restrictive, and again, you're going to get grouchy. Remember, when you restrict, you're going to unleash hell as far as the hormones that say, where'd all that food go? Or where did my caffeine go? Where did my alcohol go? Where did my playing TV games for 3 hours go? Your body's going to say what's going on. So you will go through a lot of change. You'll go through a lot of withdrawal. You'll go through a lot of hormone secretion. So you got to deal with that. The other thing is to also have everybody around you at work and at home know that you're going through a change. If you declare ahead of time that you're going to be going through a little withdrawal, at least you'll have a support group behind you. And you'll also have people that know, why is this guy so crabby? Well, it's because of that. So for them too, for everybody else around you, there's an end point, and they know they'll have to deal with you for a while or support you for a while. To have an inevitable end point is exhausting to your partners, it's exhausting to the people at work. Nobody was going to want to pick up the slack too long or give you a little bit of leeway. So it's important. That's the third point. Fourth point is to, again, plan out ahead. If you can't plan out ahead, then I would suggest you get some coaches. You hire some people who might be able to help you with guided imagery or developing some form of a relaxation practice. Some people who can help you with thinking outside the box as far as an activity you might want to try this time or this season. Somebody else who might want to give you some advice on how do you define or how do you break down that third chapter of the Ornish book or the South Beach Diet book. You really have to read through these books. To just read the first chapter or to just figure you're going to go through a 1,000 calorie a day diet and try to follow the paleo, the Ornish, the Atkins, the Pritkin, the macrobiotic, you really have to read how these authors and how these people who designed the programs wanted you to go through. And it usually gives you a step-by-step process for the whole year. So please read, research. And the fifth thing is you have to be gentle with yourself. If for some reason it doesn't work out, all right, but don't just say, I'm going to restart this in 2 weeks. Kind of see why you failed, see the circumstances about why it didn't work, and maybe, again, get the coaches to help you, or adjust your detox method and your daisy chain 3 month of change into something different that will resonate more with you. You've got to be gentle. You have to have short, small goals and just link them all together. It's easier instead of a whole big goal that you might not be driven for. Now, if you have a wedding that you're going through or a high school reunion, that deadline date is a threat, and sometimes threats do encourage you to continue on with a very restrictive lifestyle. If you've been given a diagnosis of cancer, or your bypass is coming up, or you have to have your hip redone, that too is a threat, and that's an endpoint, so it's easy to work to that endpoint. But if you don't have any of that going on and you just want to lose weight, and you've been this current weight for 10 years, you really need to help yourself with the elements that will increase your sustainability and your success rate. That way you don't have to keep on going through this every year. Because every year you postpone and say that, it's too much, I fail. That's another little notch in the brain that says it's okay to fail. It's not okay to fail. You can't do it that often. You have to be prepared for it. You have to plan ahead. And as long as you do all that, then you'll be successful. As far as whether you reach your goal, you might not reach the goal you're going for, but at least you'll be successful in completing the 14-day, the 3-month, and then linking after that. Success can be a positive reinforcement versus I failed, I'm going to postpone this, don't worry about it, it wasn't a big deal anyway. So don't just do this willy-nilly. please try to plan out properly. And you always have to ask your doctors if it's okay, because if you are taking medicines, ultimately you might be able to get off the medicines, but while you're on prescription medicines and you're on some of these combination botanicals in a detox in a box essentially, sometimes the absorption changes and you might have you'll have side effects, super normal response to the medicine. So you got to be careful. Falling down because your blood pressure medicine was too strong, or not having enough Coumadin or blood thinner in you when you have AFib because you pooped out all of the medicine is not healthy. So please ask your docs, and if your docs don't have a great answer for whether they would do this detox or not, you're going to have to research on your own or find or seek out an integrative medicine doctor. And I'll put the link to where I did my fellowship and maybe a doctor around your area.